Satnam, welcome back to the membership. Today we are going to talk about Mars having entered the sign of Cancer, how long he's going to be in the sign of Cancer, and what this means for us collectively, and also where he's going to be passing through in our chart to give us insight into how we may feel or experience this transit. So the first thing that's important to note about Mars in Cancer is that he is in fall position. And what that means is basically he's exalted in Capricorn, which is the opposite sign of Cancer. There he can be in control. There he can sort of put his action towards like goals and put his ambition behind the action. And that's a good energy for Mars. Mars is ruled by Aries. And we know Aries is that really fiery sign that is active, moves forward, takes action, doesn't want to slow down, is that very strong masculine energy. Cancer is very strong, I guess you could call it, feminine energy. It's ruled by the moon. It's like the moon goddess energy. And that means that this very intense masculine planet enters into the realm of the sacred feminine or the divine feminine frequency. So anything that is forced to enter into a realm that feels like the opposite of it is going to feel uncomfortable. So he's in fall position in this sign. What does Cancer do? Cancer brings up emotions. Cancer brings the focus into emotions. It says you can't, just ignore your feelings. Mars wants to just whatever. I don't care about I don't care about feelings. So what this does for us, because Mars is going to be in Cancer from March 25th until May 20th. So that's about 2 months total, is it gives us an opportunity to every time we are going to take action with something, instead of just throwing ourselves into it, why not give ourselves time to actually decide what it is we actually want to do? And I keep hearing the message that this is connected to the solar plexus center in human design, which has to do with emotions and how we feel emotions, where emotions come from, how we perceive them, what happens when we're feeling emotion, what does that actually mean? And depending on your specific design, it'll have a different effect. But the theme of it is true for defined or undefined, is emotions come in waves, and there's highs and lows, and then there's neutral. When we act from a place of a high wave, a high frequency, we are not acting from a place of like accuracy in terms of like the truth of a situation. When we act from the low wave frequency, the same. It's not the truth. It doesn't accurately reflect a situation. What accurately reflects a situation is like neutral. Our emotions are this like beautiful guiding system that we feel things because our emotions are opening doors, like Matthias says, to the opportunities to clear, to release, to heal. But once we step through that door, it becomes all about being in the truth. And the emotion got you to that place. Maybe the emotion triggered you. Maybe the emotion, took you on such a high and then dropped you so low that you see this huge, like, what happened? Maybe you saw the experience of like being in the low and coming back to neutral, or being in the low and like going up to a high. And the whole time it's like your soul communicating with you about what it is, which direction to go, So it's wisdom, emotions are wise in their energy, in their essence. And they give us this opportunity to stop and think about, like, maybe you shouldn't just take action right now. Maybe you should wait for the wave to pass, and see what happens when you come back to that neutral space. Because in that neutral space is where you will feel the most powerful connection to your higher self, to your soul, and to the universe, because the cosmos doesn't see like dark or light as good or bad. It doesn't see the high and the low as good or bad. The universe sees the highs and the lows, the dark and the light, as just part of the same spectrum. And so when we have to bring our awareness, when Mars, let's just talk about Mars, when Mars has to bring its awareness to the realm of emotions, which is wisdom, and things take time. When we have to deal with emotions, I mean, an emotion comes up and you can't just brush it off. Nobody can do that. Not even undefined solar plexus people, especially undefined solar plexus people, because the undefined solar plexus takes on the emotion and magnifies it and then throws it back at you. If it's unaware, right? It doesn't throw it back at you if it's an aware or conscious being, because it knows that this emotion is not theirs. Doesn't mean it doesn't feel it, you know? We feel emotions. We just have to learn to completely unattach. So how do you get to that place of non-attachment? It's not that non-attachment is bad and that you're like saying emotions are bad. They don't help us for anything. It's not, because emotions are wisdom. And so when we're able to be in a place of wisdom and deal with emotions from a place of wisdom and consciousness and like full awareness, that takes time. And Mars hates that. Mars wants it right now. You know, that explains why Mars is in fall position in Cancer. But what does this do for us, right? It gives us an opportunity to really practice this sort of emotional authority. Not all of us have emotional authority, but it's a wise practice to follow. Don't act from the high or the low, act from the place of neutrality. And so things during this time may feel like they take longer. Things during this time may feel really emotionally charged. At home and family, because that's the realm of Cancer, you may feel like the aggression and the frustration coming through because it's the frustration of Mars having to feel, you know? Like Mars doesn't give a shit, you know, about emotions. Like Mars is like, God, that's you know, like get out of my way, you know? And that Cancer energy is so feminine that, you know, it's the moon goddess, that it teaches that masculine side of us to slow the fuck down, pay attention to your emotions, pay attention to how you feel, stop swallowing them down or pushing them down or avoiding them, but actually let yourself feel. And yeah, it's going to take time, but the truth is that the wisdom that comes through us allowing ourselves to feel is beyond what Mars could ever imagine. And if we can get to that place of neutrality and that place of wisdom, the action that comes from that place, I promise you, is like quantum. It's 1,000-fold more powerful than if you just act from the high or the low. Whoa. I should like record that and like put it in a podcast because I don't know where that came from. I tried to record this video earlier. That's not what I was saying in that last video. Something happened with the audio and it was like no audio. So I had to stop and start over. Now I waited a few hours before I was like in the right place. Wait, I just realized. Oh my God. That's fucking perfect. Oh my God, I'm turning red. So I just realized what the fuck happened. Mars in Cancer was teaching me a lesson. Holy shit. Whoa. Like, yeah. So I did not feel good when that happened. And I went into an emotional like, I had to just stop, you know, and like reset, like start over. And I give myself time to come back to a neutral space so I could make this video and look at what came out. Oh, I think this one has to be one of those that is like saved in like the archives of like one of the most epic Starseed membership videos ever made. And the fact that I'm sitting here by myself laughing as if I'm talking to people. It's even funnier. I'm just kidding. I feel you guys when I make these videos. I see some of your faces. I actually can feel some of your expressions. I know that's crazy, but like I know who watches these videos because I have visions of you guys watching the videos. It's crazy. So that was crazy. Anyways, let's take a look at the chart. That was epic. So, but maybe I'll put this one on YouTube. Yeah, maybe I will. Should I do that? You guys tell me if I should put it on YouTube after you guys get to watch it, of course, because it might be a really fun one to promote the membership. So here we go. Mars in Cancer until May 20th. What is he going to do during his transit? He is going to make a trine to Saturn. That's good. That's action aligned with like focus, goals, dedication, forward movement, get organized, do it the right way. You know, trust your emotions, trust your intuition, follow your spiritual path. We're talking about Pisces and Cancer here, right? He's going to continue and then make a sextile to the North Node, which actually technically is still making a trine to Saturn, and then a trine to the South Node, which is actually creating a grand trine of South Node in Scorpio, Saturn in Pisces, Mars in Cancer. And this grand trine is a harmonious way of like moving into inspired, grounded, knowledgeable, aware, conscious action that comes from a place of aligning ourselves to let go of what doesn't serve us and step into what does serve us. He will continue and make a sextile to Mercury, I think about 6 degrees. That's aligning mind and thoughts with action, but with the wisdom of emotional awareness. When he continues and makes a square to Chiron at 16 degrees, or actually 17 degrees, it's a challenge that shows up and asks us to face a wound, face something that comes up. It's wanting to be healed. There's the reason why it's coming up. We may feel very emotional during this time, and we may actually get triggered. And I want you to notice that and move into the trigger. Don't walk away from it. Don't shy away from it. Don't push it away, but actually dive into the feeling, because the trigger, the emotional trigger, is the absolute most powerful way for us to actually heal. And if you want something that can help you, a process that can help you, I would recommend the book, The Completion Process by Teal Swan. Then a couple days later, Mars makes a sextile to Uranus, bringing in some unpredictability, but this unpredictability is going to be like a positive change, a positive shift. And we don't really like change. We like routine more than anything else, but this positive change from Uranus might feel really good. Unexpected feelings, and excitement. And when he finally gets to make a trine to Neptune, that's us basically receiving a lot of wisdom. I think by this point, we're going to feel like the understanding of our journey through Mars in Cancer, because the wisdom comes in, the recognition comes in, and this whole journey of having to slow down and pay attention to how we feel will finally reach a point where we gain that higher perspective, powerful understanding that we were searching for the entire time. It's like now you get sort of like the reward, which is the deeper understanding as to why you had this specific journey, why it happened in this specific way, and what did this reveal for you? That's the wisdom that comes through the emotional awareness. And as it starts to reach the last degrees of Cancer, it starts to oppose Pluto. And this opposition to Pluto is going to feel like we are so ready to be done with this emotional realm in Mars that we will be so ready to take action. Because what can happen with this frequency of Mars opposing Pluto is raw passion, like intense attraction. And also, of course, the oppositions feel like something outside of us has power over us in a way. And so when that happens, and we're talking Mars and Pluto, right? But Mars gets defensive, right? It's the planet of war. So this also opens up the possibility of power struggles and also arguments. But we won't be interested in any shallow or superficial interactions during that time. And what's so beautiful about that is that it literally brings it all together. It brings this beautiful journey of Mars in Cancer, emotional awareness, together in a way that helps us to understand our own personal and individual journey through this whole like about 2 months time of why we had to go through what we went through and why it's so important to dive deep into our emotions and not be afraid of our emotions. So although Mars is in fall in Cancer, it's one of the most powerful times for us to learn emotional awareness. And then when Mars finally enters Leo, he back in a fire sign, back to feeling good, making an opposition to Pluto, sparking its, the fire again, and us feeling, ready to like really truly love. Because although Leo is a fire sign, it is the most like loyal, heart-centered, emotional place for like any planet really to be. But Mars loves fire. So he's going to feel good. He's like, okay, I'm going to dry my wings off, like the eagle that, dives into the water for the bird and then has to sit there and like wait to dry off before it can like fly again. Or like, the phoenix, like, okay, here we go. We're rising now, I feel like it's going to be a really powerful transit, especially because of everything that I just talked about and everything that we went through. And the fact that I'm looking at it right now, that the day, May 20th, by the way, which is the day that we're going to be in our goddess retreat, our moon goddess Sedona retreat, which I can't wait to like go over like the astrology that's going to be activating our stay together in Sedona from May 18th through the 21st in Sedona. This is Venus, the goddess, on Sirius, which is the star of ancient Egypt, the star of goddess Isis, Ma, the mother, the cosmic mother, and deep, powerful, intuitive wisdom that is channeled through these powerful ancient civilizations. We've had past lifetimes there. Let's not lie. We wouldn't be so into all this stuff if we didn't have cellular memory of it. The cellular memory that we have of these ancient civilizations are calling us. The vibrational frequencies that are changing on the planet right now are activating us to a point where we are ready to reveal our truth. We are ready to see our truth, and we're ready to reveal our truth. And this is a huge, 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 powerful day. Also because it's going to be the first time that Mars opposes Pluto in the sign of Aquarius since like a long time. A long time. So that in itself is a new energy. So I feel like, whoa, I'm getting so much like, this is so intense. Like this is powerful, powerful, powerful energy that we're going to be experiencing. And we're going on a journey. Like I feel like this is taking us on a freaking journey? Like, are you ready for the journey? So let's talk about where this is happening in your chart based off of your rising sign. If there's wisdom in Sun, Moon, Venus, rising, or Sun, Moon, Venus as well, use it. But I recommend first you look at rising sign, and then also look at, this is interesting, but also look at the solar house. And the way that you look at the solar house, and this is something that I've been getting more into recently, is you put your sun as the first house. So if your sun was in Aries, then the solar house of Cancer would be the fourth house, right? So put your sun in the first house and then count where Mars would be in relationship to if the sun was in the first house. So these are all new ways that we can start to use, at least in our community, astrology and reading our own charts. So here we go. Aries, Sun, Moon, Venus, rising. This is happening in your fourth house of the home and family. And also, I didn't mention this, but wherever, Mars is transiting your chart is where you're going to feel inclined to let your emotions guide your actions. The best advice is to remember to always come back to neutral before making any rash decisions and acting in ways that don't accurately reflect how your higher self feels about situations. So everything I talked about, you're going to feel it in this area of your life. Aries is the fourth house of the home and family. For Taurus, Sun, Moon, Venus, and rising, this is the third house of communication. So pay attention to how you feel because your feelings are trying to literally communicate things to you. And if you don't wait for the clarity, your communication to other people is not going to be accurate reflection of the higher self. It'll only be a reflection of the moment, the human perspective, the human experience. And remember, the emotions are our guiding systems. They open the door, but they don't come with us through the door. When we go through the door to heal, to resolve, to communicate, we come from a place of neutrality. Gemini, Sun, Moon, Venus, and rising. You guys are having a second house transit, and second house is values, self-esteem. This is also what is important to you. What do you consider of value? Not just in other people or in life in general, but in yourself, How much do you actually value yourself? Do you value your emotions enough? Do you value yourself enough to pay attention to your emotions before making decisions, overspending, or, doing things that are not good for you? Those are questions that will show up. Cancer, Sun, Moon, Venus, and rising. You guys are having a first house transit, and the first house is about the self. So this is you going on an exploration of yourself. So you may feel like the highs and the lows have to do with your sense of self. Do you know who you are? Do you feel lost in life in any way? Is there something that is holding you back or something that you're avoiding? Are you avoiding taking action because of a certain feeling? Are you avoiding taking action because it's not, the right, somehow your emotions are getting in the way? But the truth is that when you pay attention to the emotions, they will tell you why they're getting in the way. And they will actually give you the answer as to what action to take. Leo, Sun, Moon, Venus, and rising, you guys are having a 12th house transit. And the 12th house is the house of spirituality and the divine. So action that is inspired by emotional waves is where you're going to find yourself. You're going to find yourself in this realm where, again, just like anybody else, it's totally natural to get swayed by our emotions into what action to take. But if you can take yourself to that neutral space, you will find, let's just put it this way, you will find the divine, you will find the spiritual in the space of neutrality. And then you'll know how to act. Virgo, Sun, Moon, Venus, and rising, you guys are having an 11th house transit. And the 11th house is the house of, it's about sharing your gifts with the world. It's the networks. It's how you affect. It's the decisions that you make affect your environment, but affect all of the people that you're connected to, linked to, especially emotionally, right? This is a space of emotion for you. So emotions connect you to other people. Emotions align you, bring people to you, attract things to you. So if you pay attention to your emotional highs and lows, you'll receive the wisdom that is needed to make the right decision or to take the right action towards that will positively or affect the realm of friendships and networks and groups of people in a way that is uplifting, right? Instead of draining or like bringing down. That's why we don't want to take action from the high or the low, but always come back to neutral space before actually making decisions. So give yourself time before, responding to things in your life, especially when it comes to friendships and anything that has to do with you connecting with the people and the outside world. For Libra, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising, you guys are having a 10th house transit, and the 10th house is about career and life path. So Mars likes 10th house. Again, this is a Capricorn realm, but you're going to have to pay attention to how you feel. You can't just like plow through things like Mars wants to do or likes to do. None of us are going to be able to do that during this time. That's why Mars doesn't like being here. So the best thing to do in this case is to pay attention to how your emotions are guiding you along the path of purpose and possibly, most likely, helping you to realign yourself with the right path. Maybe you're not on the right path and your emotions will tell you that. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising. You guys are having a 9th house transit, house of spiritual integration, expansion, the beyond, taking an epic adventure to somewhere in your life, whether literal or like in the heart space, in an experience, in your mind. Expanding our mind can be an adventure in and of itself. So this is a place where I would say, let your emotions guide you because you will go through the adventure. Your job is to go through the high and the low and experience it fully. And then realize that the wisdom lived always when you came back to the center. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising, you guys are having an 8th house transit, death, change, transformation. You are going to have maybe one of the more literal experiences of these sort of symbolic death kind of rituals, because the emotions, when they take us on a high and they take us on a low and they come back to neutral, it's like we feel amazing and then we have the tower moment and then we rise like the phoenix with the wisdom, right? Very Sagittarian. But at the same time, you are learning the wisdom through these. They could be very, very obvious symbolic deaths or very subtle. So pay attention to the subtle and pay attention to the loud and pay attention to how everything like outside of you actually reflects what's going on within you. That's why paying attention to your emotional highs and lows during this time is going to be huge for understanding what is happening in your environment and in your life in general. For Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising, you guys are having a 7th house transit. This will affect your relationships. So don't expect to resolve things right away. Don't expect to know what to say in the moment. Actually, get really good at telling your partner or loved one that you need more time, that you're not able to make a decision right now, that you're not able to just jump to a conclusion, that you just need more clarity. And the clarity won't come until you process your emotions, you process what you're feeling about situations, especially if trouble arises or miscommunication or something shows up in your relationship that brings up emotion, right? You get triggered, like someone does something and you get triggered. You're going to need time. Everybody's going to need time. So this is going to be a great opportunity for you to practice being on that other side of the spectrum, and instead of being in control and wanting to control the situation, letting it flow. Huge lessons for everyone. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising, 6th house. This is about being present, being in the moment. This transit is going to bring you in the moment like never before, because you're going to all of a sudden have to literally listen to how you feel, pay attention to how you feel. And we know how Aquarius can be so detached and so aloof and almost non-reactive to emotions because of that detachment. So stop disassociating and start to be with your emotions and see where it takes you, because I can promise you it's going to be a wild journey, but you are going to be forced to be present with your feelings before you make decisions, before you take action. It's not going to be, your mind's not going to help you with this one. Your logical mind, your rational mind's not going to help you with this one. The only way out is through. And Pisces, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising. This is my favorite transit for you guys. I'm so excited because this is the 5th house of passion. This is the 5th house of creativity, children, joy. I like to think of the 5th house as Pleiadian activation, that bliss, that heart-centered bliss, that inner child that just wants to come out and play. And here's the coolest thing, is that the most powerful artistic creations, whether it's a painting or a song or a poetry or a book or whatever it is, are always, the most powerful ones are always the ones that are made during an emotional high or an emotional low. Yes, coming to a space of neutrality is very significant as well in this realm, but in the realm of artists and creativity, it's the highs and the lows that take us on those beautiful journeys that bring about that creativity, that open us up. So let yourself feel your emotions so deeply that they take you into like this sort of new dimension of creativity and artistry. Like, let your emotions show themselves in your life through your art and through your creativity. I'm not saying you have to like all of a sudden become a painter if you're not an artist. No, it's like, let your emotions be your art. And what does that show you? What does that reveal about yourself? Can you love yourself in the high and the low? Can you love the fact that you are going to be expressing the highs and the lows, and they're both beautiful in their own way? That's art, right? Like, something beautiful is beautiful. Something dark is beautiful, So like, this is a really cool spot, and I can't wait for all you Pisces rising and to actually, go through this journey and then look on the other side and be like, what did I create? What was my artist self, my inner child? Like, how did I let myself play in this world of emotions? All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you so, so much. And I can't wait to hear your comments on this video. It was kind of a unique one. And like I said, I might be posting this on YouTube. If you're watching it on YouTube, then join our membership, because it's actually pretty epic and we have a lot of fun content in the membership. But anyways, thank you all so much. And I will see you all again next time. Sat Nam.